Welcome to this GIMP tutorial on converting a color image to black and white. So we're going to take a color image, this one here, and we're going to convert it to black and white, and then we're going to also do some other little changes to it to get various different types of tones. So if you want to push changing your image to black and white, if you want to push some of the tones and other parts of the image a little bit further, you can do that with these with this type of adjustment that I'm going to show you here. So first, drag the image onto the workspace. So what we're going to do with this image is we're going to create two duplicate layers. The top layer is going to be black and white, so we're going to desaturate it with no color. That's going to be the black and white layer. Then we're going to have another duplicate layer underneath that, and we're going to adjust the hue of the image in that, and other various other little tweaks that you can make to just get a little bit more out of a basic black and white image. Because when you just hit desaturate, or you just pull the desaturate slider all the way to the left, it just creates a very basic black and white look. And you can do a little bit more if you use this method that I'm going to show you now. So first thing we do is we duplicate this layer by again clicking down here on the create duplicate layer button. So now that we have the duplicate layer, make sure it's selected. Then we go to colors and we use the hue saturation slider. And with this we can just drag this down all the way to 0 or minus 100 and click on OK. So now we just have the basic black and white image. The problem with this is it doesn't offer us any way that we can adjust tones in the image. So if I want to make the sky a little bit darker, I might have to do some type of arduous adjustment where I adjust the tone of the sky, or I do some dodging and burning or something like that. But with this way you can kind of get a little bit of a different feel for the image and darken certain tones in a way that you want. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is, first of all, we have to change the blending mode of this top layer. So we need to change that down to this setting here, which is HSL color. So now that is only affecting the hue, saturation, lightness values of the color. So we're going to do a few more adjustments on this with a layer below that. So I'm going to click on the layer below that, so the one that says seascape.jpg, and I'm going to duplicate that. And we're going to do some adjustments to this layer that's sitting above the background layer but below the black and white layer. So in order to do that, then we go back to the color adjustment, and we add another hue saturation adjustment. This time we leave the saturation slider as it is, and we can adjust the hue of the image. Nothing happens initially when you do it because I forgot to do one little adjustment, so I'm just going to cancel out of this. What you need to do before you go into the hue saturation adjustment is we need to go and change its blending mode. So down here at the bottom, this time we use the blending mode, the LCH color blending mode. So now if I go back to colors and hue saturation and I start using the hue slider here, now you'll see some adjustment in the image. So you're getting different tones in different parts of the image. So you don't really have any control then over the overall tones in the image, rather the individual tones in the image. So it's just some type of overall adjustment that you can make. But what you can do is, at the moment we're adjusting the hue for the master, so for all the colors. We can take that a little bit further and go, for instance, into the reds, and we can just affect the red. And you can see there's not so much red in this image, just there's some red in the roof of this house, and that's changing as we change this slider. We can also say, for instance, take the blue. So if we want to adjust the blue tone, so the sky, and where the sky reflects in the sea, so if I change the hue of that, I can start getting either a lighter or a darker effect in the sky. And I can push that a little bit further by changing the lightness to, and also you can make it stronger by changing the adjustment. You also have to be careful that you don't push these too far, because then the quality of the image and the tones will start breaking up, especially this is only an 8-bit image that I'm adjusting at the moment. But you can see where it can get you by adjusting the individual tones for these individual colors in the image. Green, which we have a good bit of green down here in the foliage, you can also adjust by using this slider. Don't see too much of an adjustment in that. We might see more if we go to yellow. There seems to be more yellow in this foliage. So saturation we can turn up or down. Blue, we had a look at cyan also, which is a lot of cyan in the sea here, so we can adjust how that looks. So you kind of get the idea of what you can do. So it gives you a little bit more leeway than just reducing the saturation all the way down and getting a basic black and white image. So once you're finished with your toning, then you can click on OK. You can see then if we disable the layer above the black and white layer, you can see that we have quite a funky looking image below, and this is what's causing the different tones to change when we were making that adjustment in the image. So we're changing the hue and the value of colors here, which gives us this nice effect, or this nice different tones in the black and white image. So once you want to save this, then if you want to save it as a GIMP file, and at some stage you may want to come back and edit it, you can go to File, Save As, and save it as a GIMP file. If you want to export it, you have to combine these layers, so we can right click in the layer panel and click Flatten Image, and that gives us our black and white image, and then we can go ahead and save it as a JPEG by going to Export As. And you can see here it's defaulting to JPEG. We can give it a different name, so seascape underscore black and white, and then click on export and export again. Okay, and as with GIMP, there are always more than one way. There's always more than one way to do things. So there may be another way of achieving this effect. This is just one way that I have used in the past, and I use a similar way also in Photoshop. But with Photoshop, it has a few more options because you have adjustment layers available to you, and it has a pre-built-in black and white adjustment where you can change tones independent of creating a second adjustment layer. So I hope this was useful, and thank you for watching.